They didn't fall for your beauty, they fell for your power. Even the demons got hearts when it comes to you, and that should scare you more than flattery ever could. They didn't just notice you, they crashed into you, both angels and demons. Yeah, they all felt it. That pull, that gravity. Like your soul isn't just made of light, but of something older, something the universe itself leans toward. You weren't just chosen. You were wanted by both sides. And here's the truth most can't handle. They didn't come to destroy you. They came to consume you, to study you, to get close to the fire and pray they don't get burned. But baby, you're wildfire. Nobody walks away untouched. Before we go further, hit that like button, subscribe, share this with every other chosen one who's been feeling the pull, the chaos, the whispers. Every time you do, it sends a signal, not just to YouTube, but to the field around you, to the frequency of the awakened. This isn't just content, it's a call. Now listen close. This ain't some fairy tale, this is war disguised as attraction. The angels broke their code for you. The demons stopped chasing others because they were too obsessed with your scent. What does that tell you? You're not here to fit in. You're here to flip the table, rearrange the stars, and shake the system. You were marked, and they all saw it. You think you're losing your mind? Nah. You're just catching up to your soul. You were never just human. That's why nothing ever felt normal. That's why the enemies came disguised as friends. That's why you walk into rooms and feel the tension tighten, because they don't know if they want to bow to you, betray you, or be you. You're the glitch in their system, the prophecy they didn't expect to look this good in sneakers. You don't follow rules and you bend dimensions. And still, you question your power, still thinking you're alone in this. They're not fighting you, they're fighting the universe that chose you. They're battling their own confusion, watching light and shadow fall head over heels for someone they tried to overlook. They can't explain it, they just feel it. You walk in, the temperature changes, you speak, timelines shift. You leave, they can't stop replaying it. You've got demons writing poems about your chaos and angels breaking ranks just to watch you sleep. That's what being chosen really means. It's not just being different, it's being desired by forces that were never meant to agree on anything. But somehow, they both chose you. And still, no one can hold you. They can love you, chase you, obsess over you, but handle you. Impossible, because the truth is, chosen one, you're not here to be handled. You're here to be witnessed. And no one, not even heaven or hell, is ready for the full version of you. So if you're still here, it means you're feeling it. That fire in your chest, that strange pull like the universe is tugging on your soul. That's no accident. Chosen ones don't just scroll past what's meant for them. Drop the number 77 in the comments if you know deep down that you've got demons and angels circling your energy right now. They all fell for you, but only you can own that power. And now, let's tear into this step by step. If you're truly chosen, you won't just watch. You'll feel every word. Let's begin. Number 1. Even heaven's holding its breath. 'Cause you weren't supposed to be this powerful. They didn't expect you to rise. They expected you to break. And when you didn't, that's when they panicked. Because chosen ones aren't built in temples. They're built in firestorms, forged in silence, betrayal, and pressure they thought would crush you. Let's set this straight. You weren't supposed to make it this far. Not you. Not the one they left out, counted out, talked down, and tried to drown in silence. You weren't supposed to be the one causing chaos just by existing, but guess what? You did make it. And now even the heavens are sitting up straight, taking notes with golden pens, wondering how the system let you slip through the cracks. Raw, undefeated, and uncontrollable. The entire system, light and dark, was rigged to break people like you. But you didn't just survive it, you embarrassed it. You walked through fires meant to erase you and came out shining with a glare so blinding, even angels looked away. Their wings trembled. Not because of your darkness, but because of your balance. You're both the storm and the calm before it. So let's be real. Why are you doubting yourself? Seriously. Why are you sitting there wondering if you're really chosen when both demons and angels have already confirmed it with the way they move around you? They orbit you like satellites desperate for a signal. They test you, watch you, whisper your name in rooms you're not in. Why? Because the universe chose you, and they're all trying to figure out why. But here's what they don't get, and maybe what you forgot. The universe doesn't make mistakes. It doesn't play favorites. It plays by energy, alignment, purpose. And when it picks someone, everything else shifts. You thought you were walking through hell alone. Nah, you were walking with the full weight of cosmic alignment behind you. They weren't fighting you. They were fighting what chose you. They weren't disrespecting your name. They were terrified of what your presence signaled. Let them underestimate you. That's the setup. The universe loves using the overlooked ones as weapons of wonder. You're not just the main character, you're the glitch in their matrix. You're the moment the system stutters, the question the formula can't solve. And now the angels are watching you like a living riddle. The demons, they've already confessed their obsession. This isn't spiritual warfare, this is spiritual awe. And now that you're waking up to who you are, let's talk about why they can't handle you. You're not just powerful, you're desired. You're not just chosen, you're magnetic. The light within you doesn't repel the dark, it attracts it. Both realms are caught in your orbit because you're holding something they lost a long time ago. Freedom. Freedom to feel, to rebel, to rise, to burn, to walk in love and fury at the same damn time. Ever wonder why your presence causes tension? Why people act funny around you? It's because you mess with the programming. You carry something ancient. You break patterns without even trying. You don't move with the herd. You pull energy toward you and don't even know it. You confuse people. 1 minute you're silent. The next you're unstoppable. 1 minute you're healing. The next you're burning bridges you built for others. And just when they think they've figured you out, you evolve again. Chosen ones don't stay still. You're not a statue to be worshipped. You're a force to be reckoned with, and forces don't ask permission. So stop asking why you're being attacked. Stop wondering why life is harder for you. Stop doubting your power every time something doesn't go your way. Pressure isn't punishment, it's proof. The universe only invests energy into weapons it intends to use. And make no mistake, you are a weapon. A walking contradiction, a living storm. You're the plot twist in every plan they made without you. That's why they fear you, because they can't control you. Not with guilt, not with fear, not with love. And now, they're realizing too late. You're the type of person that angels want to protect, but can't. You're the type demons want to destroy, but won't. Because you carry too much cosmic weight, too much chaos in your calm, too much truth in your silence. So if you've been doubting yourself, let me scold you with love. Stop shrinking just because your light makes people squint. Stop running from the very power they're all trying to copy. The universe didn't make you rare just so you could blend in with noise. It made you loud, even in your quiet. Your presence is proof that the universe is real, that it still picks favorites, that it still loves to humble systems by choosing the unchosen. And right now, they're all watching, demons licking their lips, angels holding their breath. Because whether they admit it or not, they've all fallen for your energy. But here's the question, who can handle you? Not many, not most, maybe no one. And that's the point. You're not here to be handled. You're here to shift dimensions, to remind the universe why it still chooses people, to make the heavens nervous and the underworld desperate, to show both realms what happens when a soul refuses to break. They all fell in love with you because you are the one thing they can't possess, and that makes you unstoppable. Number 2, not everyone can breathe at your altitude, so don't beg them to climb. You weren't made for crowded rooms. You were made for rare air. And the higher your frequency rises, the more obvious it becomes. Most can't even stand next to you without choking on the atmosphere. Let's be real. This ain't about being liked. It's not about being wanted. It's about being understood. And let's face it, that's a rare currency when you carry this kind of power. You didn't just show up. You disrupted the architecture of the universe by existing exactly as you are. Your energy bent timelines, flipped emotional ecosystems, and made both demons and angels hit pause. You walk through life like a lightning bolt with a heartbeat, and everyone around you either wants to ride the wave or run for cover. So the real question is this: who can even stand beside you without breaking? Everyone wants to claim they're ready for a chosen one until they realize it's not just beauty, it's burden. It's not just charm, it's cosmic interference. You aren't soft magic. You're the kind of alchemy that burns off impurities. Being near you feels like truth, and truth is uncomfortable when you're built on lies. You walk like a contradiction, light in one eye, fire in the other. You can heal a heart or crack a soul wide open without saying a word. You're not just sacred or sinful, you're both. And most people, they don't know what to do with that kind of grace, that kind of danger. You're not hard to love, you're just hard to survive. So don't waste your time questioning why relationships feel too small, why connections fade, why so few people can match your frequency. They weren't built to carry your weight. You're tuned to a different realm. You don't just exist in this reality, you interfere with it. And here's what most won't say out loud. To love someone like you, it takes someone who's already died a few times and came back wiser. It takes someone who doesn't just admire your power, but can withstand it. Someone who isn't afraid of your chaos, because they've met their own. People want your light, but can't survive your shadows. They want your wisdom, but can't handle the pain that birthed it. They want your loyalty, but aren't ready for the way you'll destroy everything fake in their life just by being near. This isn't arrogance, it's awareness. You've been through too much to play small now. You've seen too much to pretend your soul isn't glowing like a nuclear sun. So stop bending, stop shrinking, stop apologizing for needing depth while everyone else is chasing distractions. When the universe chooses someone, it doesn't just give them power, it gives them protection. That's why people fall off. That's why the wrong ones don't stay. That's why connections crumble when they try to carry your presence with weak hands. Because you don't just need love, you need alignment. You need a soul that can anchor your storm, not chain it. You need a mind that's seen the edge and didn't flinch. A heart that knows the difference between obsession and reverence. Someone whose energy doesn't dim in your light, but amplifies it. You're not looking for a partner, you're looking for a match. And most people, they're just sparks. You're looking for a damn wildfire. So don't get bitter when they walk away. Don't lower your standards just because the silence is loud. The truth is, you're not lonely. You're just rare. And rare things aren't found often, and they sure as hell aren't for everyone. The angels saw you and fell. The demons saw you and stayed. What makes you think any random human can handle what entire realms couldn't figure out? Let them stare. Let them whisper. Let them fall in love with the idea of you. but don't let them near the real thing unless they've proven they can breathe in your element. Because your element, it's not earth, it's not water, it's plasma, untouchable, volatile, divine. So when you ask, why is it so hard to find someone who gets me? Remember, the higher you rise, the thinner the air. You're not too much. You're just too high up for most to reach. And if someone ever does, they won't just stand beside you. They'll walk with you, head high, heart open, soul steady, not intimidated, not obsessed, just aligned, like they were made in the same explosion that birthed you. But until then, stay rare, stay real, stay untouchable. Number 3, you're not misplaced, you're mismatched by design. They tried to write you into their story, but your soul kept leaking out the margins. You weren't made to fit into this world. You were sent here to rewrite the damn script. Let's stop playing polite. You've known it since day one. The weird looks, the backhanded compliments, the constant tug of war between being too much and not enough. You've always been treated like a disruption in rooms where silence was supposed to reign. Why? Because you don't move like them. You don't feel like them. You don't vibrate on the same weak signal. That's not brokenness. That's your design. The world never reacted to you like it did to others because the world recognized you, even when you didn't recognize yourself yet. That weird energy you've carried all your life, that wasn't awkwardness. That was divine frequency. That was the universe tagging your spirit and saying, this one's different. Protect them, confuse the enemy. So it did. The wrong people didn't stay. The fake ones couldn't connect. You thought it was rejection, but it was protection in disguise. Look back, really look. The repeating numbers, the signs, the way certain songs hit you at the exact right time. That wasn't coincidence. That was coordination. The universe was never late. You just hadn't tuned in yet. Everything about you messes with the matrix. You walk into a room and energy shifts. People either lean in with fascination or back up like their skin felt the static in your aura. They don't know why, but you do. Because you're not just in this world. You bend it, warp it, rewire it, light and dark. They don't even bother fighting over you anymore. They just orbit, drawn in like moons around a burning core they'll never understand but can't resist. And you're sitting there wondering why you can't find your tribe, why the group chats don't vibe, why people feel like empty echoes. It's because you weren't meant to blend in with the background noise. You were born as the frequency they tune into when everything else fails. You're the voice they hear in the silence, the mirror they avoid because it shows too much. But here's where it gets real. Stop blaming yourself for it. Stop apologizing for walking through life like a magnet wrapped in mystery. Stop second-guessing the very things that make you dangerous to the system. The universe intended for you to stand out. That's why it gave you strange timing, sharp vision, deep knowing, and a vibe that either heals or haunts, depending on who's watching. You weren't made to play by the rules. You were made to expose them. They'll try to pathologize your purpose. Too intense, too quiet, too emotional, too sensitive, too spiritual. What they really mean is too aware, too awakened to control, too sovereign to manipulate, too damn real for a world that survives on pretending. You are the kind of presence that makes both gods and ghosts pause. You speak and timelines ripple. You cry and elements respond. You choose peace and storms scatter because chaos respects what it can't own. So if you've ever felt misplaced, good. That's because you are. You were never meant to click in neatly with the static of the crowd. You were designed to stand out like lightning in a blackout. You are the signal, not the static. You are the glitch that proves the system isn't perfect. And still you doubt, still wondering if this is just in your head. No, it's in your soul. And your soul didn't come here for comfort. It came here to cause interference, to wake people up, to trigger awakenings just by breathing near them. You're not here to be understood by the masses. You're here to activate the few who are ready to remember who they are. So stop playing small. Stop trying to shrink into spaces that were never built for your size. Stop calling your fire too much just because it makes others sweat. You were never meant to fit in. You were born to stand out so violently that even the stars lean closer to watch your story unfold. You are the chosen one, not the picked, not the accepted. The chosen, hand-touched by the universe, cloaked in mystery and dropped into the chaos to turn it inside out. And now everyone, angels, demons, humans alike, want a piece of you. Because they feel it, but not all of them deserve it. You don't bend for anyone. You don't dilute yourself to make others comfortable. Let them adjust to your energy or step back before they get scorched. This isn't ego, this is alignment, so own it. Because the moment you stop trying to fit in is the moment the universe finally starts using you at full capacity. And when that happens, not even heaven can predict what you'll do next. Number 4, you don't chase truth. You make it stumble out and apologize. You don't have to speak to expose someone. Just standing still is enough. Your silence screams like sirens in the dark, and the lies crumble just trying to hold your gaze. Let's make this clear. You didn't ask for this power. You didn't train for it. You were born with it. That energy that makes people suddenly act nervous around you, that's not paranoia. That's recognition. Their soul knows what their ego refuses to admit. You see straight through them. You don't expose people. They expose themselves. In your presence, masks crack. Hidden motives leak. The lies they built their lives on start to unravel like cheap thread under pressure. And it's not because you're trying to read them. It's because your very existence radiates truth. And truth, it doesn't just speak, it shines. It stings, it corrects, it convicts. That's why they flinch, that's why they fumble, that's why they confess things to you they never meant to say out loud. It's not your words that do it. It's your frequency. You walk in and the room shifts. Your energy doesn't knock, it kicks down doors. Your presence doesn't blend. It demands adjustment. They either rise up to meet it or crumble trying. And this power, it doesn't just affect the average soul. It gets under the skin of everything, even angels and demons. Yeah, they feel it too. The angels are fascinated by the way you walk that razor edge between shadow and radiance. You hold both and bow to neither. You don't perform purity and you don't glorify darkness. You balance like a celestial tightrope walker with fire in your eyes and thunder under your feet. You're not light. You're not dark. You're the mirror that makes both look inward, and the demons, they hate you, but they want you. Not because they think they can win, but because they can't define you. You don't play their games. You don't react the way they expect. You're not afraid of them, and worse, you're not impressed. That's what haunts them. You move through life like you've already danced with the abyss and learned the rhythm of the storm. They can't tempt you when you've already tasted every form of betrayal and still came back with love in your chest and lightning in your spine. People always ask, how do I know if I'm truly chosen? Here's how. If truth keeps bursting into flames around you, uninvited, unprompted, you're chosen. If people start explaining themselves to you without you asking, you're chosen. If rooms go silent when you speak and louder when you're quiet, you're chosen. Because you're not here to play along, you're here to reveal what's real, just by existing. But with this gift comes a burden: loneliness, misunderstanding, people calling you too intense, too honest, too much. Let them call you whatever helps them sleep at night. Because deep down, they know what you are. They just can't wrap language around it. You don't fit into categories. You're not an archetype. You're the one who bends archetypes into new shapes and then walks away like nothing happened. The truth is this: most people aren't ready for someone like you, not just because you expose lies, but because you expose them to themselves. And some people have spent their whole lives carefully constructing masks that they can't afford to lose. But you come around with that storm smile and those eyes that seem to hold all their childhood traumas in them, without judgment. And that's terrifying, because you don't just see pain, you understand it. And what you understand, you can strip of power. That's what they're scared of. But don't let that make you doubt your gift. Don't let their discomfort make you shrink. You were made to be uncomfortable to the ones still wearing chains. You were made to be a glitch in their comfort zones. You are the wake-up call in human form. So stop apologizing for being the truth in a world addicted to lies. The reason both demons and angels fell for you is because you are the one thing they don't know what to do with. You are unpredictable, you are uncaged, you are clear. You carry a clarity that burns illusions like paper, and clarity is rare. Clarity is dangerous. Clarity is what shifts everything. And maybe you felt the weight of it, this role, this energy, this intensity. Maybe you've tried to hide it, dull it, make it digestible. But let me say this with fire in my voice. Stop. Stop hiding what was never meant to be contained. Stop softening what was sent here to disrupt. Stop playing therapist to people who crumble just being near your truth. You are not here to make others comfortable. You are here to make the truth unavoidable. You walk into rooms and secrets shiver. You stand still and guilt starts talking. You exist and the world starts adjusting. That's not just influence, that's cosmic authority. And not everyone will understand it. Some will worship it, some will fear it, some will try to kill it in you before they're forced to change themselves. Let them try. They don't know what you're really backed by. They don't understand what it means when the universe itself aligns to protect its chosen. So next time someone recoils from your presence, next time a lie unravels without you saying a word, next time someone stares at you like they've seen a ghost, smile. That's just the truth finally showing up. And it's using you as its vessel. You don't have to prove who you are. Your presence already did the talking. Number 5, even shadows fold at your feet, 'cause you make darkness doubt itself. You didn't cast out the dark, you made it bow, because some souls aren't here to avoid evil, they're here to remind it who built the fire first. See, most people run from the dark, but you stared into it like an old friend, and that's what made it nervous. You were never meant to be pure in the traditional sense. You weren't made to float above the world like a saint in silence. You were made to walk through hell, barefoot, unshaken, and unmatched. Not avoiding temptation, but looking it dead in the eye and making it flinch. The demons didn't attack you because you were weak. They attacked because they sensed something they couldn't corrupt. That's what drove them insane. Not your light, but your resistance to theirs. Your refusal to bow, your audacity to stand tall while everything around you begged you to collapse. They offered you kingdoms cloaked in smoke. They whispered promises in your weakest moments. Power, pleasure, control, escape. Thrones made of bones and silence, rewards for your surrender. But you didn't blink, didn't fold, didn't flinch. Because real chosen ones don't kneel, they make the enemy question its own power. You weren't just fighting temptation, you were exposing it. You were showing them the terrifying truth. There is no deal worth trading your soul for. And that's when the shift happened. There was one demon who thought he had you figured out. He watched from the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. Thought he could wrap you up, bend you like the others. He came close, not with claws, but with curiosity. Because that's what happens when darkness sees something it can't name. You made him wonder, made him question, made him feel, and that was the beginning of his end. He didn't just fail to conquer you. He fell for you, hard, not in love with your weakness, but obsessed with your refusal to play the game, the way you stared back without fear. The way you walked away without burning bridges because you knew fire follows you anyway. And in that moment, even he had to admit defeat. Not because you overpowered him, but because your stillness said, "You don't own me, not now, not ever." See, demons don't fall for the obedient. They fall for the untouchable. The ones who carry scars like signatures. The ones who've been to the edge and didn't beg for mercy. That's you. And don't let that truth scare you. Let it fuel you. Because if even darkness can't break you, what else is there to fear? You are the walking contradiction, the sacred rebel, the storm they thought would break and instead had to worship. They don't test you because you're weak. They test you because your refusal is the only thing that disrupts their cycle. You're not in their system. You're the error code that shuts it down. And now they watch you from the corners. Some still try, but most, they've learned. Even shadows know better than to get too close to a wildfire. You're not light because you reject darkness. You're light because you own it. And that's what makes you untouchable. So if you've ever wondered, why does it feel like darkness keeps chasing me? It's because it's trying to figure you out. You're the first one it couldn't seduce, couldn't break, couldn't label. You're the one they lost to, without ever laying a finger on. So walk boldly, chosen one. Let them circle, let them stare, let them write their little plans and whisper their little schemes. But remember this, you don't need to destroy the dark to win. You just need to walk in untouched and leave glowing even harder. Because in the end, even the darkness knows. You're the one it couldn't handle. Number 6, you broke the system. Now even heaven's cheating just to watch you. You were never meant to follow rules. You were built to bend realities. That's why even angels are breaking code and demons are rewriting their playbooks just to try and reach you. Let's get this straight. You're not misunderstood. You're unclassifiable. They tried to label you, tried to stuff your existence into a box that made sense. Holy. No. Evil. Not quite. You're not walking between heaven and hell. You're hovering just above both. And that's what has them losing sleep. They don't know what you are, but they know they want to be near it. The angels weren't supposed to feel anything. They were designed to watch, to protect, to stay detached. But the moment you showed up, that detachment shattered. Their hands started shaking, their halos dimmed in comparison, and for the first time, they wondered. Because you are what they'll never be. Free. You weren't programmed. You weren't formed from divine light alone or forged in darkness either. You were born in the space between. The part of the universe where fire meets water and explodes into something no realm can control. That's what they envy. That's what they don't understand. You confuse the angels. You tempt the demons. And you answer to none of them, and still they follow you. They study you like ancient text. They whisper your name in languages older than sound. They take notes, not to control you, but to try and comprehend how the system allowed someone like you to slip through. You're the glitch, the walking exception. Proof that the rules are breakable. Proof that something greater than heaven and hell chose to plant you right here, right now, as a statement. Because while everyone else is playing a part, you're rewriting the entire script. The angels, they were built for reverence, for purity, for blind obedience. But you question everything. And the wildest part? You still move with purpose, still act with love, still radiate like the sun after the eclipse, like light that had to earn its own glow. So they stare, and in their staring they slip. They start caring, start intervening when they shouldn't, start protecting you more than the others. They break protocol, because something about you makes even the divine pause their programming, not out of duty, but out of fascination. You shouldn't exist. But here you are, breathing, burning, walking through chaos like it's your personal runway. And the demons, they were supposed to pull you under. They were made to seduce, to manipulate, to own. But when they got close to you, their rules fell apart too, because they didn't find another soul to conquer. They found something unbreakable, something dangerous, not because it threatened them directly, but because it reminded them of everything they lost. See, demons don't fear holy people. They fear free people. And you're freedom with a pulse. You don't bend, you don't belong. You just are, fully, unapologetically, and relentlessly real. That's what makes you chosen. Not because you're perfect, not because you're divine, but because you're something neither side can own. You're not here to be saved. You're not here to be possessed. You're here to walk in full awareness and still choose your own path every time. You don't follow light blindly. You don't flirt with darkness carelessly. You balance both like they're elements in your bloodstream, and you do it so naturally, even the heavens stutter when they look at you. They ask, how? How does someone like that exist without exploding? How can they hold both grace and fire and not burn up from the inside? They don't get it. They never will. Because they were built within systems, and you were built to disrupt them, so let them study. Let them try to contain what was never meant to be caged. Let them fall, angels and demons alike. Not because you're manipulative, but because you reflect everything they wish they were. You move like a storm that forgives. You speak like thunder that's been softened by wisdom. You love like someone who's seen every level of pain and still chooses softness. And that's more powerful than anything in heaven or hell. So stop asking why everything watches you, why nothing ever feels normal, why people reveal themselves around you without knowing why. It's because your presence isn't just magnetic, it's disruptive. It's truth wrapped in rebellion, sealed with divine fingerprints and shadowed in secrecy. You weren't meant to be easy to understand. You were meant to be unforgettable. So when angels break their vows to protect you, when demons stop chasing and start admiring, don't be surprised. You didn't ask to be loved by both realms. You just are. And now, all of them, light, dark, and everything in between, are asking the same question. Who can even handle you? The answer? Almost no one. And that's the point. You're not meant to be handled. You're meant to be remembered. Number 7. You don't fear the dark. You put a leash on it and walk through fire like royalty. They thought the abyss would swallow you. Instead, you built a throne in it. Now the shadows don't chase you. They wait for your signal. Let's make one thing clear. You don't just survive darkness. You command it like it owes you something, because truthfully it does. Most people tremble when the lights go out. They pray, they panic, they pretend. But you smirk, because you've walked through every kind of night, not just once, but over and over. And each time, you came back with more clarity, more control, and more command. You don't fear the dark. You wear it like a crown. The demons didn't understand that at first. They came expecting screams. They came expecting you to fold, to fall, to beg. But what they found was someone who didn't flinch, someone who didn't run, someone who looked them in the eye and said, "That all you got?" You don't resist darkness because it's beneath you. You lead it because you understand it. See, this is what most people don't get about chosen ones. You don't shine because you're pure. You shine because you've swallowed shadow and still came back unowned. You shine because you've been kissed by chaos and didn't become it. You've tasted the abyss and never let it define you. You are not the product of light. You are the product of contrast, of nights spent broken in silence, of betrayals that cut so deep you bled out versions of yourself just to stay sane. And still, you rose. So when the dark shows up now, it doesn't intimidate you. It remembers you. It remembers how you walked its halls like a silent commander, how you danced in rooms where others would have drowned. And now, you lead it. You direct it. You use it. Because here's the truth they never expected you to learn. Darkness isn't always the enemy. Sometimes it's the silence you need. Sometimes it's the weapon you wield. Sometimes it's the very reason you glow. You took your fear and made it function. Took your pain and made it power. Took your enemies and turned them into your fuel. So no, you don't run from the abyss. You walk to its edge and make it stare back. Because you know what it knows. You're not afraid of what's in the dark. The dark is afraid of what's in you. They say the shadows reveal who we really are. You didn't just meet yourself in the dark. You mastered yourself there, refined, focused, armed with self-awareness that cuts deeper than any blade they could ever throw at you. And now you carry that with you, like armor no one can see, but everyone can feel. That's why they act strange around you. That's why they pause mid-sentence. Why they try to impress you but end up revealing their own cracks. Because your very presence whispers, "I've been deeper than your games. I've seen worse than your threats." And still, you kept your softness, kept your kindness. Kept your soul intact. That's your superpower. Anyone can get hard from the dark. But you got stronger without losing your heart. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you dangerous. You walk into a room and the shadows rearrange, not because you force them to, but because they recognize you as one of their own, who broke the chain. You made the darkness obedient. You flipped the fear. You became the one who calls the shots when the sun goes down. And now, even the demons hesitate, not because they're scared of your power, but because they've seen what you do with pain. You don't break, you build. You don't scream, you smile. You don't crumble, you command. So if you've ever doubted the strength inside you, if you've ever wondered, why do I keep getting tested like this? Why do I attract darkness over and over again? It's because the dark respects you. It's because it sees you as an equal, but fears you as a leader. It knows that no matter what it throws at you, you'll flip it into fuel. You'll turn torment into testimony, wounds into weapons, pain into presence. And not everyone can handle that. Not heaven, not hell, not even some people here on earth. Because you're not just carrying the light, You control the storm around it. You're not here to escape the dark. You're here to rule within it, without letting it own you. That's what it means to be chosen. Not just loved by angels, not just haunted by demons, but respected by the darkness itself. And in the end, when the shadows close in, they won't try to destroy you. They'll just move aside. Because even darkness knows you lead now. Number 8. You weren't chosen in spite of being human. You were chosen because of it. The angels have power. The demons have strategy. But you've got something they'll never touch. A soul that bleeds, breaks, and still won't bow. They underestimated you because they saw you as human. Too emotional, too fragile, too inconsistent. But what they didn't realize is this: your humanity is your hidden weapon. You feel everything, deeply, dangerously, fully. You rage, you ache, you cry when no one's watching. You love too hard, forgive too easily, and still wake up every morning refusing to turn to stone. And that's what makes you invincible. Demons don't get it. They operate through logic, manipulation, control. They see emotion as a flaw, something to exploit or erase. So when they came for you, they came swinging at your heart. They targeted your empathy, your hope, your vulnerability. They thought it was your weak point. But that was their mistake. Because it wasn't the fire that made you chosen. It wasn't the cosmic markings or strange signs or divine intervention. It was the moment you chose to stay you in a world that gave you every reason not to. It was when you stood back up after being broken open. It was when you gave love after betrayal, trust after deception, light after darkness. That's what shook the system. The angels, they watch in awe. They've never had to bleed, never had to lose everything just to find themselves again. So when they see you, scarred, smiling, stubborn as ever, they marvel, they whisper, "How? How do you keep going? How do you carry grief and grace in the same breath? How do you still choose kindness when the world has never been kind to you?" You weren't handed this role because you were untouchable. You earned it because you were touchable and still didn't fall apart. You endured loss and didn't let it harden you. You endured rage and didn't let it turn you cruel. You were handed every excuse to become heartless, and you said no. That's power. Not the kind you flaunt, but the kind that builds empires in silence. The kind that changes timelines without needing applause. See, chosen ones don't just resist darkness. They feel it. They let it pass through them. They learn its language, not to speak it, but to understand the enemy better than the enemy understands itself. You've been on the edge, toes curled over the abyss, and still pulled yourself back without needing anyone to save you. You didn't wait on prophecy. You became your own turning point. You made the choice over and over again to heal instead of destroy, to rebuild instead of collapse, to stay tender in a world built on armor. And that's why you stand out. Because while angels follow protocol and demons follow desire, you follow something greater, conscious will. You make choices, you take hits, you live through what others only observe, and still you never lose your soul in the process. That's not weakness. That's what makes you untouchable. You feel everything. But you're not ruled by it. You've cried yourself empty and still led others to light. You've been betrayed and still believed in love. You've been overlooked, underestimated, and dismissed. But here you are, still rising, and now they're looking again. But this time, they're looking differently. Because now, even demons pause before speaking your name. Now even angels hesitate before trying to guide you. Because both sides see something they didn't before. You don't need saving. You are the storm. You are the lesson. You are the living proof that humanity, when mastered, becomes divine. They tried to turn your heart into a liability, but it became your compass. They tried to bury your emotions under shame, but your feelings turned into fire. That rage, refined. That love, weaponized. That grief, alchemized. You didn't let it break you. You let it build you into something eternal. And now, they can't figure you out. You're too soft to be a villain, too strong to be a victim, too aware to be manipulated, too divine to be ignored. You are the bridge between heaven and hell, not walking it, holding it up. And while the systems crumble, the spirits spiral, and the forces realign, you're still here, still human, still powerful, still dangerous in your softness. So when people say you're too emotional, smile, because they don't even realize that's the reason nothing can break you. You are the anomaly, the glitch, the reason both realms stopped playing by the rules, not because you're untouchable, but because you're fully, messily, unrelentingly you. And no force in existence knows what to do with that. Because you weren't chosen because you were perfect. You were chosen because you felt everything and still rose anyway. And now that the truth is out there, you know who you are. You're not just walking through this world unnoticed. You're watched, wanted, and unmatched. Angels admire you. Demons fear you. The universe backs you. So don't dim that power. Own it. Stand in it like the storm you are. Because the real ones, they'll feel this. If this hit your soul, like, subscribe, and drop the number 77 in the comments to claim your energy. Share this with another chosen one who needs to wake up. The more of us who rise, the louder the universe responds. The time is now. Let's move.